Well, in my life, I strive to be as good a person as I can be. In the cattle business, I strive to raise as high quality a product as I can raise. There's so much improvement that has been made in the Angus breed in the 20-something years that I've been involved with Angus cattle, and there's still so much room for improvement. I tell my friends and my business associates that if you're standing still in this business, you're losing ground because the business is moving ahead at warp speed. You better be keeping up or you're falling behind. Lankford Cattle Company is a business that I started in, 1974, 75, something like that. Started out as a small commercial cow herd and a hay business. Had more land than I had cattle available to me, and so I raised and sold hay until I could build a cow herd to start consuming all that extra forage. My grandfather was getting old in West Texas, and it was kind of by default that I got into the Angus business because he had just bought two really nice young Angus bulls out there, and then he passed away. I brought those two bulls home and put them on a big set of Beefmaster cows, and at the time I was feeding cattle and backgrounding calves and retaining ownership on cattle, and I found that those Angus cross calves on the Beefmaster cows was the best thing I'd ever done, So I immediately started trying to buy the best Angus bulls that I could find. The calves just got better and better. We kind of let the Angus herd blow up. In 2008 and 2009, we had a terrible drought here and ran out of grass, but we cut our herd way down and just focused strictly on breeding purebred Angus cattle. I guess 20 years we've been in the purebred business. The last 12 we've had nothing but Angus cattle on the place.
With Bodey, when I first met him, the cattle were already in his life with his grandfather, his dad, and then his mom. And in time, it was Bodey on his own. I've seen his dedication, his love, his compassion for this lifestyle, the caring for the animals. I always said if I were a cow, I would be okay living here. It would be a decent life.
What is the Angus breed? Well, I believe it is the breed that the beef business is built around. The product is what the industry wants. The economics, calving ease, docility. I don't know why anybody wouldn't raise Angus cattle if they're going to be in this business. It used to be if the calves would qualify, they used to talk about, well, I had 30-40% choice cattle, and that was a big lick 10 years ago. Now it's not anything to have a herd of cattle that grade 70-80% choice. Choice is not a big deal anymore, and I attribute a whole lot of that to the Angus breed, to the use of more Angus bulls in the commercial herd. It's amazing what one high-quality bull can do to 25 or 30 cows as far as upgrading the quality of their calves in a feed yard and packer situation. I've told people for years and years our real reason for being here is to provide those bulls for the beef industry and to create the best carcasses that we can for the packers and for the American public to eat. It's all about the high quality eating experience. I believe that myself and other good cattlemen should be ambassadors for the beef industry and for certified Angus beef, because I think the truth needs to be brought out to people, and the goodness of animal protein and the goodness of beef, The word needs to be spread. One of the best ways to spread the word is through human interaction, and that's what Ambassadorship is about. Saltgrass Cattle Company, one of the larger retailers for certified Angus beef in the country, and we had a large group of chefs and restaurant managers and wholesale meat purveyors out here. The first go around, the Texas Beef Council picked up on what we were doing out here with certified Angus beef, and they started asking us to do the same sort of thing to promote Texas beef. We've just gotten to where expect to do 1 or 2 of these events every year, and sometimes have 300, 400, 500 people out here at a time. Have several busloads of folks pull up out here and just have a big time doing it, you know, and everybody leaves happy and leaves with a full belly. They gain a lot of knowledge, not only about the cattle, but about certified Angus beef and a lot of the programs that are available to them. So it's fun, it's educational, we like doing it. I think that's what Ambassadorship's all about. The groups that come out here, because they're mostly urban and from often faraway places, have a lot of myths and preconceived notions about ranchers and farmers and what we do to cattle. We try and dispel those myths. It's funny, some of the questions we get from some of them, and it's a pleasure to me to be able to tell them the truth. This is the San Marcos River, the strongest and most continually running spring in Texas. Starts this river about 12 miles upstream in San Marcos. It's never gone dry. Sometimes it gets a lot bigger than we want to. My shop and barns out there have been underwater several times. 16 inches of water in the shop. Kathy and I have an old home around the bend of the river that we lived in, raised our kids down there. That house was built out of an old fishing camp that was built in 1919, and the house never had water in it from 1919 till 1998. Since 1998, it's had large amounts of water in it, 5 times, as much as 5 feet of water running through the living room of that house. It's a condemned structure now, which is kind of sad to us because it was our home where we raised our babies. There's a price to pay for living on the river. This home that we're in was not in the floodplain when we built it. It was 4.5 feet above the 100-year floodplain, and now it's several feet below the 100-year floodplain. Fortunately, we have not had river water in the house, and I'm hopeful that we never do, but it's sure been close a lot of times.
Bodey is going to work with cattle till the end, and I know that. There's that thought of traveling, being gone, and both of us have reasons we don't travel a lot. I know if we can still be here, we will be here till the end. And he'll be doing what he does. When Bodey was younger, he may have gone to somebody for advice, but now he's reached that point where people come to him for advice. I've seen that progression. And it's very touching, but it also reminds me where we are on the timeline. And it got here quick. It came quick.
Well, it's always been hard work, and getting out of bed and getting the knots worked out every morning is getting to be a tougher deal all the time, you know. Everybody asks me when I'm going to retire from this, and I guess when the good Lord won't let me get out of bed and get the knots out anymore.